Hello everyone, so this is a recording for Jamie Kalisa and myself, Michael Hansen, and this is about B vitamin supplementation and its effect on cognition among at-risk populations. So, B vitamins, as a scientific community, we figured out that B vitamins have a role in cognition. And when we talk about at-risk populations, specifically in our proposal, we're talking about pediatrics and geriatrics. Now we all know that there are 8 water-soluble B vitamins, but specifically for our proposal, we're talking about 3 B vitamins that we know have a role within cognition. So we're talking about B6, which has a role in cofactors for enzymes. We have folate, which is responsible for 1-carbon transfers within transamination and nucleotide metabolism. We also have vitamin B12, and we know it has a role in normal functioning of the brain as well as the central nervous system. So, our problem statement is certainly focused around the importance of B vitamins and those 3 specific B vitamins, especially their role of cognition within the pediatric and again geriatric populations. So we hope to determine their effectiveness by assessing participants' baseline intervention, post-intervention measurements, and comparing them. We're hoping to discover at what level will each population within the B12, folate, and B6 areas play a significant role in minimizing cognitive decline. So the 4 research questions that really guided us within our problem statement involved B vitamin supplementation and its benefit on cognitive function of the at-risk group of pediatrics and geriatrics, as well as the dietary intake of B vitamins in those 2 at-risk populations as well. So some of the literature that we found as far as pediatrics certainly involves neural tube defects. So we understand that the neural tube begins to form 22 days into post-conception, and it certainly has a role as far as adolescents while they're growing up. So we understand that we have a hidden hunger within our U.S. population, and about 20% of children are malnourished. Now, when we talk about malnourishment, we're not just talking about undernourishment, we are also talking about overnourishment. Some of the studies that we found involving literature in pediatrics involve B12 supplementation and it having a positive effect on neurodevelopment in children. We also found that a diet rich in B6 had protective factors against cognitive decline, and the 3 vitamins that we were initially looking at also have roles with pregnant mothers in decreasing childhood brain tumors. Now, looking at literature within the geriatric population, we understand that chronic diseases are responsible for 7 out of 10 deaths in the U.S., and it accounts for 75% of the nation's health expenditure, according to the CDC. So some of the things that we found involves the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease and a consensus statement involving homocysteine levels having a connection to Alzheimer's. We also found data involving B12 and folate being major determinants in total homocysteine production levels. 2013 research showed the 3 B vitamins we're looking at were all beneficial in slowing brain volume degradation as well as gray matter demyelination. So we think it's crucially important to look at both at-risk populations. So within our research design, we're looking at 2 to 18 within pediatrics and above 50 for geriatrics, and we were hoping to have 100 participants in each group. Now our study setting is specifically designed around Sac State. We have some groups as far as the Public Health Survey Research Program, which will help us capture data, as well as the Cardiovascular Wellness Center and Food Literacy, which help us interact with people in the elderly and pediatric groups. So some of the exclusion criteria that we really needed to focus upon were things that already had a problem with cognition. So things like illness, some medications, as well as possible participants falling outside of the age group. The way we hope to capture baseline and post-intervention data specifically was designed around a modified food frequency questionnaire, specifically around B vitamins, as well as a 24-hour diet recall. We thought it would also be important to have some biochemical data like B6, folate, and transcobalamin levels. And finally, we thought it would be also imperative to have a cognitive functional assessment in the form of a CRAD-K for the elderly and the Stanford Binet Intelligence Scales for the pediatric groups. So our methodology was a random assignment within 3 groups. Our first group would involve B vitamin supplementation. Our second group involved with eating only sources of folate, B6, and B12, and our third group being our control. Again, our post-intervention is very similar to our baseline, and we were hoping that this would be a longitudinal prospective cohort study, and it would last at least a minimum of 4 years. So our analysis, we were hoping to do a general linear relationship model and show a correlation between B vitamin intake or supplementation and cognition. Some of the things that played into that would be the cognitive assessments, the serum levels, as well as the difference in supplementation and intake. We decided a multi-factor analysis of variance will be used to assess whether high dietary intakes or high supplementation of B vitamins will be more significant to reduce cognitive decline. And finally, we were hoping to do a random assignment so we could adjust for confounders such as gender, socioeconomic status, education level, and race. So in conclusion, our proposal is a hopeful research project to show and support the large body of data that correlates B vitamins and cognition, especially in the youth and the elderly. Current data already shows that B vitamins enhance cognition in both of these groups, and the B vitamins also have a role in Alzheimer's disease. So with time and effort, future research could involve differences in supplementation as well as natural food sources, and this could pave the way for avenues of research and further support of B vitamins in other cognitive issues.